Hello, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you to the 2021 HPNA membership meeting. My name is Chad Riley, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Membership for HPNA, and we all hope you're having a wonderful annual assembly so far. Today, I will be your moderator for the membership meeting. Before we get started, we do have a couple of quick reminders. Today's meeting will be recorded and shared with the entire membership at its conclusion. Because today's meeting will be delivered in a webinar format, the chat feature will not be available during today's session. However, we do welcome attendees to submit any questions for the National Office staff or Board of Directors in the Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen. Please be sure to include your first and last name with any questions submitted. As moderator, I will do my best to address as many questions as possible today. However, our session is limited by time constraints. Questions not covered during today's live meeting will be collected and, if possible, addressed by an appropriate staff member. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to HPNA's 2021 Board President, Alicia Murray.
Hey everyone, and thank you for coming. I'm astounded at the numbers in the meeting today. That's awesome. And so we're hoping to be able to provide you with some direction for what we're doing this year and what we have done in the last year. So Holly, I would ask you if you could to please share your screen, and we will go through some of the information that we have for you. So we'll begin with a couple of our members for representation. And just to remind everybody about our mission statement: to advance expert care in serious illness. And then our vision statement is to transform the care and culture of serious illness. And then again, our pillars of excellence. We're focusing on education, advocacy, leadership, and research. Next slide, Holly. And so here's a list of our board of directors, and you can see some of them on the screen as we're here. Our president-elect is Holly Martinez, and Dr. Michelle Webb is our secretary-treasurer. Past president is Jen Hale. And then the list of our directors are Dr. Christy Aker, Dr. Lynn Reinke, Dr. Misako Marihara, Dr. Ab Brody, and Jen Aliff. And so we welcome you here to our meeting today. Next slide, please. And so I'd like to take a moment just to recognize our national office staff and thank them for all of the hard work that they do to help support our board. We couldn't do it without them. And so I'd let you just take a moment to take a quick read as to who is doing what for our organization. And we greatly appreciate the support that they provide for us. And Holly, next slide, please. So I'd like to go over the revenue streams just a little bit, and you can see they are color coded for where we are. And so the largest revenue stream is through expense sharing. And then we have educational products, which accounts for approximately a little over $852,000, which is 27%. Our membership revenue streams, approximately 957,000, a little bit over that. And the membership includes the different tiers of the levels. The educational products, we're looking at certification type courses, our clinical practice forum, annual assembly, joint partnerships that we have, the LNEC program that we partner to provide with a couple of those a year. We do 2 each year. And certification courses, excuse me, not certification courses, but the certification prep course. So next slide, please. So our expense streams, as you see, we all know that COVID brought us many challenges, but it also gave us the opportunity to look at how to be able to do things differently. And you can see that compensation and benefits for the national office staff are where the majority of the expenses lie. However, I do want to share, we were able to downsize. The national office downsized in this past year. They went from 5,000 square feet down to 1,500, and that is a large savings each year as the pandemic has forced us to work at home. It's really enabled us to increase our efficiencies and decreased overhead costs, and that was a great example of the ability to be able to do that. Board expenses were very minimal this year. We had OpEx expenses, again, that was decreased as I just spoke about. And then our professional services, that's where we're looking at, we have to use some consultants as we move forward and looking at some of the changes that we've needed to provide in dealing, working with how we do things. It's also helped us with our educational products, consulting for that. In addition to helping us to edit and write book chapters that we've been involved with, and then legal fees that we have had along the way to help us right the ship and make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. So next slide, Holly, please. So some of the major initiatives that we have, the Polaris Learning Resource launched this year for the RN level, and that has been utilized a great deal and is an excellent learning resource. And then we have received a grant for this upcoming year to be able to adapt that to the APRN level. So you can look for that throughout the year. That will be coming to us. And so that was a wonderful addition, and we're very excited because the utilization with Polaris has been, very high at this point. And so we're really hoping with the induction of the APRN that will help to boost that learning resource as well. We also have the auto syncing with the HPNA university courses that are available for CNE credits, and those are in Learning Builder. We launched the nursing resource guides. I can tell you those have been actually especially helpful for our bedside staff or, in the home that we have. And so those national the nursing resource guides have been great. The COVID-19 Resource Center, and we actually have begun the work. We actually were going to do it last year and we're preempted. And so we have taken that journey on for this year. And it's very exciting to see where we're going to go as an organization. And we have created new HPNA communities, and then new edition of several HPNA publications as well. There's a sample of the new nursing resource guides right there on the right-hand side of your screen. We have monthly instructor virtual certification review sessions that are available. And we're really excited because we did receive a grant to be able to focus this year on leadership. And so we have a great leadership platform. We do have a course that we're doing with SWIPIT on March 9th. And so we're excited with that. In addition to 2 leadership courses, their fall mini conferences, one in the spring and one in the fall, and then 2 podcasts that will go for that as well. We also have the new mentoring program, and that's going to be very exciting where people can sign up on the HPNA website and identify the strengths and opportunities that you have to be able to share with the members going forward in being able to network and further that and further the collaboration that we have. And then we do also have the new chapter newsletters that are available as well. Next slide, please. So engagement, we have over 10,000 HPNA members in all 50 states. 47% of them holds HPCC certification. The special interest groups at this time, we have 19 and 49 HPNA chapters. I was very excited as I got to speak with a new member yesterday who was interested in beginning a chapter in their area in Oregon. So that was a very nice conversation to have and to see the interest in the HPNA chapters. We also have 350 volunteer shared hours for a total of 5368 hours in time of expertise that we have had for engagement. Next slide, please. Actually, Holly, could you go back because I negated to point out we have nearly 1,200,000 followers on Facebook and over 5,600 followers on Twitter, hoping that will increase throughout the conference as we go forward. And so that's been a great network to be able to reach out with. Next slide. Thank you, Holly. So how can you engage with HPNA? By voting in the board members for election and also participating in the bylaw votes as they are disseminated as necessary. Applying for the HPNF scholarships. It's amazing the scholarships that are out there, sometimes that are, kind of left. And so those scholarships are available. So I would encourage everybody to reach out, look at the HPNF site for those scholarship opportunities, to nominate yourself or to others for HPNA awards, and we'll be going through those awards in just a few moments, to support HPNA advocacy efforts by responding to calls for comments and signing on for initiatives, to volunteer to edit, review educational materials, and to help promote the benefits of the HPNA membership and the HPCC certification with your peers and employers. Also to retweet and like and share any of the social media posts that we see that come across any of the platforms to help spread the word. Holly, next slide, please. So how can you share your ideas? You could share a story in a video or a written testimony, and you could email those to the address that's right there on the screen. You could join or participate in the special interest groups, submit an article or an abstract, serve on a council or a committee, or apply for the board of directors. Next slide, please. So I'm very pleased to have the honor to acknowledge the 2021 award winners for this year. And so the Distinguished Nursing Researcher Award is Dr. Salima Makani. The Distinguished Nursing Practice Award is Kathleen Perko. Next slide, please. For New Investigator, Dr. Shelley Fetter. For the Vanguard Award, Dr. Heather Coates. Next slide, please. Distinguished Career Achievement, Ms. Diane Parker. And then the Presidential Citation, Representative Lauren Underwood. There are video clips from each of these award winners, and I have had the privilege to watch them all, and I would encourage you to do so as well. And Dr. Underwood, Representative Underwood does a very, very nice job in illustrating the importance for what we do. Next slide, please. Our fellows in palliative care nursing, Dr. Jenna Ford, Robert Smeltz, and Dr. Susan Thrain. Next slide, please. So some of our upcoming events. So as I spoke a little bit earlier, March 9th, we had the interdisciplinary webinar with SWPN. May 21st, we're springing into the education with the mini conference. And then June 11th and 10th and 11th, we have the LNET Core Train the Trainer. July 29th, we'll have the virtual conference as well. Our clinical practice forum will go virtual this year as well on August 26th and 27th. And then we had sprung into leadership, and in the fall, we'll fall into education, into the mini conferences that we have. We have another offering in December for the LNET Core Train the Trainer. And that same time, the LNET Pediatric Train the Trainer. Next slide, please. So I'd like to open it up to any questions that we have going forward, as we appreciate you all being here. So I'm going to defer this question to Ginger, and you can put it in the appropriate forum, if you would, for the appropriate person to answer. It was about the Polaris program. Wasn't clear until after purchase that only one person could get CEUs. Can you comment if that'll be different for the APN course? Chad, you want to answer that live? He'll answer that live through the Q&A. And then has there been any discussion to have pediatric version of the ACHPN exam? Ginger, would you like to take that?
Sure, I'm happy to.
Thank you.
And I also want to go back to Maria, Dr. Bakaitis' question. I think it's a really good question. We really struggled when we launched Polaris about whether this should be a membership benefit or whether we needed to charge for it. And Polaris was a long time in the making. It actually started off by another name called Pathways, and HPNA invested a significant amount of money over a period of 4 years. And then it came to fruition this year. And we really felt that just from a practical standpoint, with being able to continue to offer things to our members, that we needed to charge a small fee for it. Which is why there's a fee associated with the modules. Dr. Bakaitis is right that whoever makes the purchase for the module, that's the only person that is able to get the credit for the CEUs. Very similar if you attend the conference, you're the person who's attending, you're the person who's going to be getting the CEUs. We are planning on doing the same for the APRN Polaris. And again, we were very fortunate to receive a $75,000 grant from the Ho Chang Foundation to help us start working on APRN Polaris. We're hoping to be able to start the process for the creation of APRN Polaris in June. And we are thinking it's going to take us somewhere between 9 to 12 months. So we'll be able to launch it in 2022. We currently have another $100,000 that in grants that we are waiting to hear back on that we've applied for to be able to defer the cost of creating it. The estimated cost for creating 9 modules for APRN Polaris is about $200,000. So again, we're trying to be able to do that with grant money. Next question, completely switched tracks, and I'll change from my CEO hat of HPNA to my CEO hat for HPCC. It's a great question regarding the certification for APRNs in pediatrics. We wish we could do this. We know how passionate you are, and we also are very aware that the roles for an advanced practice nurse, as pediatric advanced practice nurse, is very different than it is from a registered nurse. Very similar to the differences, which is why we had 2 role delineation studies for a certified hospice palliative nurse and an advanced certified hospice and palliative nurse. The biggest challenge is the volume and be able to create a sustaining program that we would be able to continue to offer certification for advanced practice nurses in pediatrics. At this time, it's probably not going to be possible. We really wish that there were more advanced practice nurses practicing in pediatrics to be able to get the numbers up high enough to where we could sustain the exam.
So we have another question. Do you have suggestions about materials from the annuals from the assembly that can be shared with chapter members? So I'm not sure if you'd like to direct that one to Ginger.
So I'm going to actually ask Chad if I can put you on the spot here and pull in a little bit. And Chad, you can also maybe share with the group the leadership, the new newsletters that we're doing for chapters, as well as the leadership program we have every fall for chapters.
So we are planning, I saw a couple questions coming in about the leadership conference for chapter members and leaders. We are planning for a virtual conference in the fall for those individuals, and we're excited about that. Diane Shearing, who's our membership engagement manager, is already hard at work putting that program together for the chapters, and as well as the chapter program has also been enhanced with additional materials, both online and also in a newsletter format for more communication and information sharing to the chapters out there. And I know Diane and Joan Bloomer in our membership department have big plans for this year for additional resources to be shared with chapters moving forward.
So Chad, is that going to be with the leadership conference, or will that with Clinical Practice Forum, or will that be separate?
I think those discussions are still ongoing at this point, but we'll definitely be in contact with chapters to give them more information and save the dates as well.
Thank you. We have a question from Rebecca. Are you looking for anyone to help with the Polaris APRN development? I'll give that to you, Ginger.
So be careful what you ask for, because the answer is always going to be yes if we're looking for help in developing projects. So yes, we will be looking both for content experts, subject matter experts, which actually is a really nice segue back to, we're so excited about the platform that we just launched in our new community section, in where you will be able to go in and list yourself as a subject matter expert, attach your CV, attach information specifically about what makes you a subject matter expert in certain areas. And this is going to be a godsend for us in the national office, because frequently we get requests for subject matter experts to sit on national panels. And it's we want to get away from always going back to the same people. We want to be able to broaden this out. We have close to 10,000 members, and we want to be able to utilize all of the talent that you have. I hope that answers your question. But yes, definitely you can, I'll put myself on the spot. I don't put any of the other staff on the spot. You can email me at gingerm@hpna.org if you're interested in working with Polaris.
There was another question around Polaris Ginger CEUs for the person who has signed up, but can the material from Polaris be used with others?
So it's a really good question. I'm actually going to see if Julie Tanner, if I can pull her into this a little bit. I am fairly certain that the person who signs up for it is the only person that's going to be able to access the material, but I'm going to give a caveat to this. There is also, for the RN Polaris, there is what is called a preceptor guide that goes along with it, that the package is actually, you get a little bit of a discount if you buy all 13 modules, and you get a preceptor or an orientation guide. We've heard from some of our hospices that it's been quote unquote a godsend during the pandemic, because they had to move away from being able to do face-to-face orientation with their staff, and they're now able to use Polaris, which can be done online.
There is also
Ginger, you did a beautiful job. So that was great. Thank you.
There was also a question, where can I purchase and how many CEUs do we get from Polaris? I see, Maria, that you're typing for that.
Polaris can be purchased through advancingexpertcare.org through our website, and you get a total of 30 CEs for the 13 modules.
Thank you.
And Alicia, I just want to throw in something real quick. We actually offer continuing education, not continuing education units. So just CEUs, we're not a provider for them. So just so you know that you get continuing education credits versus CEUs. Thanks.
Thank you for that clarification, Julie. We have another question that talked about, there was quite a bit of revenue in the other category. So for example, Ginger, would you like to speak to that?
Yep. While I'm looking, as I'm furiously looking up the budget, because I want to make sure I give you the right information. If there's any other questions you can go to while I'm researching that, and then I'll come back.
Sure. Then there's a question about which certification do you recommend pediatric NPs apply for? So, Ginger, who would you like to defer that to?
Actually, Annette, are you on the call? Is Annette on the call? Annette is our Director of Credentialing. So you might have to unmute Annette if you're on the call. Okay. Oh, there she is. Annette Perry-Brown, can you unmute, or Holly, can you unmute Annette? Okay, so it looks like we're having some challenges unmuting Annette. So I'm going to keep talking until we find out if Annette's able to join us. Here she is. Annette, can you join us? So it could be that Annette's having some connectivity issues, because we're all having weather issues. I'm sorry, that was really rude. I'm not having weather issues. I live in Florida, but most of the people on here are having weather issues.
This is Annette. I did get unmuted. I got to be a panelist. Thank you, Holly, for putting me in that role. I think it's a really good question. What should I take if I'm an advanced practice nurse in pediatrics? And my best recommendation is to take the CHPPN examination because it's about eligibility for the pediatric population. Our ACHPN is for an adult population. So, you might see that 18 to 21, depending on what you're looking at for what that adult population would be. But the questions and the items and the detailed content outline are for that adult patient for the ACHPN exam. So my recommendation would be the CHPPN exam.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Ginger, are
welcome.
you set with the previous question now?
I am ready. So there's a really good reason, whoever asked that question, I'm sorry. I don't know who asked the question, but there's a really good reason that other category for revenue. So the question was, the other category seems to be like a very high number. So why is that? And it becomes from, so in the 2020 budget, there is HPNA serves as the administrative home for the Hospice Palliative Credentialing Center and the Hospice Palliative Nurses Foundation. So instead of HPCC and HPNF having to go out and hire their own CEO, their own accountant, their own HR person, their own billing department, their own administrative assistants, what we do is we provide those services from HPNA, and HPNF and HPCC reimburses or pays HPNA as the administrative home. So the HPCC expense sharing fee for the cost of doing business, the administrative cost in 2020 was $870,000. And for HPNF, it was approximately $250,000. There is also income that was earned from our Journal of Hospice and Palliative Nursing for approximately $130,000. We received $9,000 in our job postings. We have a career center that people will pay to post ads. So, and then we were, the national office staff was reimbursed for time that was spent on grants for about $10,000. So I think it's a great question. This is your organization. I encourage any of you to ask questions about financial issues or structure issues. We're here to answer those type of questions for you.
Thank you, Ginger. So we have another question. Are chapters able to create educational seminars and award CEUs through HPNA, and what is the cost? Or can we use HPNA educational sessions and learn as a group watch party to receive CEUs?
So I'm going to defer this, to Chad.
I was going to go ahead and jump in on that one, and I'm actually going to bring in Diane Shearing, if she can unmute herself. And Diane and the education department have been working hand in hand with something very exciting on the horizon for the chapters. If you want to talk a little bit about that, Diane, if you're able to unmute.
Sure, yeah. So we are in the process of finalizing 2 topics of content to be able to share with our chapter leaders to use as chapter programs. And so we're looking at it as a content chapter program in a box type situation. And so they can, our chapter leaders can arrange for their continuing nursing education credits through HPNA, or if they have their own provider through their employer, that's something that they can use as well. And so, we've been working obviously very closely with our education staff. And so we had some initial calls, but we're looking forward to being able to release that to the full chapter leadership very shortly. Julie, did you want to add anything more to that too?
Just a quick add in with this program, it's called informational sharing or educational sharing. You get the gap analysis that you can apply to your local area. You get the actual PowerPoint presentation that's been reviewed and written by subject matter experts. You get any information that you would need to kind of write your ed design. And so it's just a way for us to take what we identify needs assessments done nationally. And if you see that you have that same need locally, for us to be able to commonly share that information on a regional and local level. So looking forward to that rollout. It's going to be great.
Thank you, guys. So another question, membership has benefits of specific publications, thank you, but access to more evidence-based publication in general is very difficult for community-based agencies not affiliated with large academic or medical centers. Might there be a role for HPNA to help or advocate or aggregate in this area for employee partner programs?
So I think it's a really good question. And the reason I think it's a good question, it's the same one that I asked when I joined HPNA a year and a half ago. So myself and our previous chief clinical officer, Dr. She's still working on her DNP, Marika Bakaitis, we looked into this. We actually looked into what it would cost for HPNA to be able to give open access for publications for our members. And we were quoted a price ticket of over $300,000 a year. So that's unfortunately, that's not possible. It doesn't mean that we've stopped thinking about it. It was definitely on one of my lists, for us to look at other alternatives. Unfortunately, COVID came up during this past year, and it bumped that down just a little bit in the priority list. So I do think it's a great idea, and it's something that I'm hoping we'll be able to readdress in the future.
Thank you. We have a question from Rebecca. It would be great to be able to use these programs in a box without paying for HPNA CEUs. Maybe this can be the exception to the rule of needing to pay for the credits. Chad, would you like to answer that?
Sure, it's always something that's on the table we can look at. The program has not been launched yet, but it's something we can take a look at and how it fits into the overall budget of the organization moving forward.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see a question. Can Ab or Lynn provide information about the first year leadership conference?
And I think Maria was, excuse me, sorry, Marie. I think Marie was talking about or referencing to the first leadership development program that we had with the 14 scholars. So Ab, if you're comfortable with that, you can take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Marie. It's a great question. Just a brief recap for those that don't know about the program. We received, gratefully from the Cambia Health Foundation, a grant to start a leadership development program. I think this was about 3.5 years ago now, maybe. And there was a first cohort that went through. 14 of the 15 individuals completed the program. And overall, they rated the program generally highly, though because of some of the, I'd say, organizational changes that were going on within HPNA at the time, and thinking about staffing and how to best utilize staff. There are some changes that are in the works and moving forward about how to reframe the leadership development program from a sustainability aspect, because grant funding is not going to go forever. And so Ginger has been working heavily on this. This is the year of leadership for HPNA, so it is an intense focus. And beyond the 14 out of the 15 individuals who did complete the program, there's going to be some new pieces rolled out this year on leadership development that will move forward the model that was created and make it into a more sustainable program to help our members in moving forward to develop further leadership skills. Ginger, does that well encapsulate where we stand?
Yeah, it's a great job. One of the things that as we looked at we received a $250,000 scholarship grant from Cambia for the leadership development program. As Marie said, Dr. Bakaitis said, for our first year. What we found is that we invested about $130,000 from that grant. Because we are good financial stewards with the money, we had $120,000 after that first year. One of the first persons I called was Ab to talk through the idea of what if we were to go back to Cambia and say, instead of investing this money in another 12 scholars with my fear that it's not going to be sustainable for the future. What if we were to invest it in leadership for the entire membership organization? Ad gave me some great suggestions on how to best approach this with Cambia. I went back, they really liked the idea, and that's where we are today, 2020, the year of leadership.
Thank you, Ginger. So we have a couple of questions dealing with diversity. Is there a plan to diversify the HPNA board? And so I'd like to have you send that to the appropriate place.
Yep. So I am very pleased to let the membership know that we are starting a diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging task force. I just approved this morning approved the consultant's proposal. There's a group called Kaleidoscope that's going to be working with our group to be able to come in and do a deep dive on our history of diversity, or perhaps our history of lack of diversity within our organization. And they will be helping us to form this task force. My goal is to have this task force convened by April. It is the board of directors last fall gave us, we discussed this at a board meeting. The board of directors gave us specific criteria for what they are looking to accomplish for, which is again, a more diverse board, a more diverse membership, and more education surrounding diversity and its importance. So I'm very excited about this. You may be seeing a call for applications. This is again something that we're going to be working with Kaleidoscope on to be able to help guide us in the best way to form this task force.
Excellent question. So I do not see any other questions in the Q&A. Is there anything in the chat that we missed?
No, I think
Great,
we're good
thank
with the
you.
chat.
Thank you for your last comment, Rosemary. So Ginger, is there anything that you would like to finish up with?
I just want to be able to have the board members who you will see, it should be front and center, just an opportunity to introduce themselves. And then if you can hand it back to me afterwards, I just want to give a shout out to our team at the national office.
That would be great. Lynn, I'll start with you if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome. My name is Lynn Ranke. I am a palliative care researcher and a nurse practitioner at the VA in Seattle and at the University of Washington. I'm very proud to be a board member.
Thank you, Lynn. Masako?
Hi, everyone. My name is Masako Mayahara. I am also a palliative care researcher and teach hospice and palliative care at Rush University in Chicago.
Thank you. Holly?
Hello, everybody. Great to see so many of you out there. I'm a nurse practitioner. My name is Holly Martinez, and I practice at the University of Utah Healthcare in Salt Lake City.
Thanks, Holly. Ab?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ab Brody. I'm a geriatric and palliative care nurse practitioner and associate director of the Hartford Institute for Geriatric Nursing at NYU, and focus on how to help hospices and home care agencies to improve quality, particularly around palliative care for persons living with dementia and their caregivers.
Thank you. Christy?
Hi, Christy Acker. I am an advanced practice registered nurse in oncology over 25 years, so I'm proud of that. Also certified in hospice and palliative care and also in oncology. So this is finishing up my second year on the board, and it's been a wonderful experience. It's a great way to develop leadership.
Thank you, Christy. Michelle?
Hi, everyone. I'm also just thrilled to see everyone here, so many people today, and I am an assistant professor at Duke University and also a leadership and nursing practice coach for Teleos Collaborative Network. And this is my second year as well on the board. And it's been a very exciting year. I'm so impressed and pleased and proud with what HPNA has accomplished in another very challenging year. Glad to be here with you today.
Thanks, Michelle. Did we lose Jen Hale somewhere? I saw her earlier.
So I got a text from Jen that she was having some connectivity. I just want to give her a chance to sort of shout out, unmute and shout out if you're on. I also saw Jennifer Aliff earlier. I don't know if Jennifer is on or not too.
I don't see either of them listed in the panelists any longer or in the attendee list. So,
okay. So I know yeah, they were both having connectivity. Yeah. So I also, again, we've got 2 minutes left. I just want to take the opportunity to express my thanks and appreciation for the strong work that our team has done at the national office. The past year has been an unbelievable challenge. I know that the team is so tired of hearing me say the word pivot because I've said it a lot and they've done it a lot. The first day that we joined we formed the COVID strike force team, the work that was done and rolling up their sleeves and working long hours and getting it out. And I will tell you that there have been several organizations, including the American Nurses Foundation, the philanthropic arm of ANA, that has recognized us for our educational efforts surrounding COVID. The ANCC gave a shout out to us in one of their blogs for our nursing resource guides. And ONS, again, basically gave us kudos at their last membership meetings because of our COVID resource page. The team has faced the same challenges that many of us are facing with issues pertaining to the pandemic. But despite that, and despite making a national office move, kudos to Dawn Mateer, who did the lion's share of this work. We still got a lot accomplished. So I am extremely grateful for the work that everyone's done. So if you're here with the national office, I just want to know, you know how much I appreciate all the work that you've done.
As does the board. We appreciate their support. It makes it possible for everything that we do. So we are at 2:15. Thank you all who attended with us. We look forward to seeing you throughout the rest of the conference. Thank you for your participation. This is your organization and we are here to serve you. Please feel free to reach out to any one of us. We are here to help, and thanks again and enjoy the rest of your day.